Welcome back to Comics, to the podcast where me and my mom look at 2 comics each episode, and we're looking at Brave and the Bold 28. This is from 1960, and it's the first appearance of the Justice League of America, which is sort of based on the Justice Society from earlier in DC's publishing tenure. But this is a more contemporary team of their all-star characters. And they're facing off against Starro the Conqueror. The world's greatest heroes team up to battle a starfish. I like this version of Batman. His eyes are weird little half moons.
He kind of looks friendlier, though, in an odd sort of way.
It's weird to have the Flash have that one little triangle, like an extra triangle in his mask, instead of just being closed there. It goes up a little bit.
I wonder if it rolls up.
Yeah, maybe that makes it easier to take off.
Well, I like Diana's hair in this version.
The roll call: Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern, Batman, Flash, John Jones. They don't call him the Manhunter.
Aquaman looks a little...
His brow is dark.
Yeah, he looks a little...
Superman has such beady little eyes.
Long in the tooth.
Same thing with John.
Who is John Jones?
He's the Martian Manhunter.
Okay, yeah.
So, we start off with Aquaman. It's funny because Batman and Superman are sort of more background characters. They're trying to sell you on all these maybe less popular characters like Aquaman. So he starts off our journey because he's talking to his friend Peter the Pufferfish. My friend Peter the Pufferfish is calling me, and Great Neptune, what an incredible tale. It is thought beaming at me. So similar to the first issue of X-Men in 1963, they're communicating telepathically.
He's very cute.
Peter the Pufferfish talks about how a short time ago he was floating upside down on the surface of the ocean, and he saw in the night sky a giant extraterrestrial starfish, a gray and blue extraterrestrial starfish with almost a Captain America-like eye.
Yeah.
Captain America's shield. And so he deflated himself. He had puffed himself up. It actually says in the asterisk, by swallowing air into a special sac beneath its throat, the pufferfish becomes inflated like a football, whereupon it rises to the surface and floats upside down. So you get a little lesson about science.
I wonder if pufferfish watched the eclipse last week.
Probably.
That
I mean,
would
if they're
be so
looking for
cute.
giant intergalactic starfish. So he spied on Starro here, and he heard him. I guess Starro was just narrating to himself. He said, I am Starro. I have selected you 3... he's talking to these starfish. That's right. His deputies. You 3 starfish who must be distant relatives of mine to help me conquer this planet. So he turns regular starfish into like giant Starro. They look exactly like him.
Okay.
There's no more time to waste. I must summon the Justice League to an emergency meeting. It may well take our combined powers to battle the awesome menace of Starro and its starfish deputies. Yeah, they're called starfish deputies. So he has a belt. His A belt blasts out a
signal,
ultrasonic vibrations. So Wonder Woman's saying, I can't marry you, Steve, until my battle against injustice is done. Great Hera, I gotta go. So she gets in her jet. Meanwhile, Superman is punching meteors. And
as you do.
Not just for fun, but any number of them, if one had collided with Earth, it could have been catastrophic, and he's trying to manage several of them. So he thinks to himself, I dare not let a single meteor through. I'll signal back that I'm temporarily delayed. Ask to be excused unless my presence is absolutely imperative. It's like, how can you transmit such a detailed message through ultrasonic waves? Like, it's not like he's speaking into it. He's just like, is it Morse code or something?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in an experimental jet piloted by Hal Green Lantern Jordan, Aquaman signaling me via my power ring. It'll only take a moment to switch from test pilot uniform to Green Lantern costume. And so he uses his willpower to pilot the plane He's like, it's designed to fly around the world in 24 hours. I'll will it on its way with my power ring, then pick it up after the Justice League business is concluded. Such a coincidence that it can circumnavigate the Earth in exactly the number of hours there are in a day. Not one greater or less, or like 23.72 or something. They're like, design one. Like, we could make it faster, sir. No, there's 24 hours in a day. I want the symmetry. And then in this old school Batmobile, which is just a long car with a bat's head on it and a Pope-mobile bubble.
Oh my God. But he looks like he's
This
happy.
is the 60s Batman, baby. He's swinging and grooving.
Yep.
In Gotham City, Batman is racing crosstown in the Batmobile when I'm getting the Justice League signal, just as I'm closing in on two arch enemies who have joined forces to loot Gotham City. I won't mention their names now, but just two arch enemies. I'll keep in constant touch with the other members and trust I won't be needed till I finish the business at hand. So,
I can read between the lines. He knows that Superman's not going, so nobody can fly him.
yeah, he wants to ride on his back.
Yes.
You think he'd have some tint or armor, but he's just got a see-through bubble so he can wave at people as he drives by. Like, we knew it was you because you have a giant bat on your car. You didn't need to have a bubble, too.
That his battering
ram.
Yeah.
So it does look like some kind of
Medieval.
yeah, it's
kinda.
like a limo.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, the Flash is battling a tornado, and he says, a tornado is a violent rotary storm a few hundred yards wide with winds up to 500 miles an hour. The winds revolve spirally upward in a counterclockwise direction, so all I have to do is run counter to those winds, cancel them out. We were just having tornado warnings the last couple weeks. I should just do that next time. Just start running the opposite direction. See if we all do it at the same time, we might be able to be like the Flash. And in an office of a metropolitan police chief, so I guess Martian Manhunter is John Jones. He can shapeshift. He's John Jones blonde human with black eyebrows, and then he turns into a green-skinned with still thick black eyebrows Martian John Jones.
John Jones.
He has that little apostrophe in there to be sassy. Manhunter from Mars. He loses all of his hair. He becomes very Yul Brynner.
What is his origin story?
He's from Mars. I think he's the last of the Martians or something like that. I think he's the last of his kind, and he has many powers similar to Superman, but he's weak to fire.
Oh.
Which is ironic because it looks like there's an explosion of fire behind him. It's just his own energy. It's just his excitement. So they meet not in a satellite headquarters, as they are contemporarily portrayed, but in a cavern. As 5 of the members of the Justice League of America gather in the modernistically outfitted cavern, which is their secret headquarters, Aquaman acquaints them with the strange tale of Starro. And so they break up into teams. They have Green Lantern cover the territory around the Rocky Mountain National Park. Wonder Woman and John Jones I'm going to go tackle the agent who goes to Science City, and I'll handle the other mission myself. So Flash is solo. He's like, I can handle it. But John Jones and Wonder Woman, probably the 2 most powerful people on this team. You guys gang up. And who are they going to, why are they going to these various places? Well, each place is being attacked by a deputy of Starro. So, this is a weird, pretty short comic. But it's almost got chapters because we get like our introductory inciting incident, and then each segment is like punctuated with Starro versus Green Lantern. It's sort of the way they like to have like the X-Men are collectively together interacting for a couple of panels, and then they all get to show off their special ability one by one against various teams of enemies or in the danger room. Yeah. It's a way to because it's probably hard to think about. I don't write comics, but it's got to be harder to write an ensemble scene where you're trying to balance who gets how many lines, and they got to say something that's like signature to their character's personality. It's easier to have them individually stick with one for a few pages, I would think. It's a balance probably between the two. So Aquaman said Starro's deputy would strike somewhere in the Rocky Mountain National Park area. There it is now. I guess Peter the Pufferfish must have heard some really detailed directions.
Yeah.
It's like, Peter the Pufferfish, how do you know where Rocky Mountain National Park is? You live in the ocean. How do you remember the whole name of it? I don't know. I've got a good memory. I don't have a lot going on down here.
I've always been good with names. I don't know.
So, the reason that Starro's deputy, or his clone or whatever, is in Rocky Mountain National Park is because he's attacking a U.S. Air Force plane carrying an atomic bomb. So he, like, wraps himself around the fuselage and starts bending it. And one of the soldiers is like, give him a taste of that. And he shoots him with the machine gun, but his tentacle breaks through the hull, and he's grabbing the atom bomb. He knows exactly where it is.
Cow.
They're shooting him with machine guns.
So this is a starfish that is solo
He's familiar
he doesn't
with
need
atom
water.
bombs. No, he flies through. Well, you know, these starfish probably needed to live in the water until he turned them into versions of Starro. Like, he's an super evolved starfish where they evolved out of the ocean. He's part of a whole other alien race.
This is no Patrick Starfish.
He's evolved. The star creature banged up the plane so it can't fly. I've got to go after it, but not before I help out those Air Force men. So he's busy rescuing these people. He makes like a little slide for it, like Iceman would.
Oh, nice.
And it turns out that Starro's just going to set the bomb off. So with a cry of dismay, the Justice League member throws up an arm as, it's exploded the bomb. I'll be caught in its tremendous explosion unless... He makes a little bubble to protect himself. And Starro has some ability to absorb atomic energy. It's absorbing the energy released by the exploding bomb. But why? What does it hope to accomplish? What will all that energy do for it?
Uh-oh.
Now it can shoot these... it shoots beams of unimaginable fury. And nearly hits him.
Wow.
And of course, like in a video game, you're like, well, I better shoot for the center.
Yeah.
That's probably the part that's weak. Like, it'll do its special move and then reveal that part for 3 seconds, and that's when you have to attack. And when he does destroy this deputy, it turns back into a regular dried out little starfish.
Whoa.
And he wonders, how are the other people doing? Well, you can see the awkwardly sized back of skull of Martian Manhunter. He's not doing very well.
And you can see Diana in her plane.
Yeah, she's taken the Batman bubble concept to its logical endpoint. What if the whole car was see-through and it flies? So another of Starro's deputies is attacking the Hall of Science. I always thought if you moved to a city there would be a Hall of Science, and it turns out I don't think we have one.
Not much, no.
Swooping down out of the sky above Science City, the Star Warrior wraps powerful tentacles about the Great Hall of Science as Wonder Woman and John Jones put on an extra burst of speed to stop it. So he can actually grab the building and it stays like intact, like the floor and everything. He just grabs the building off its foundation.
Still got Wi-Fi, oddly enough.
So he had put the scientists have been put into a state of suspended animation, so they'll remain alive until their mind knowledge is taken from them. To avoid the destructive weapons of the Earthlings, I'll conduct my experiment high in the atmosphere.
Jeez, what is his plan?
Racing after the second of Starro's cohorts comes Wonder Woman in a robot plane, and John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, who flies by a negation of gravity. Our first consideration is for the safety of the men inside that building. Side by side, the Justice League duo catapults into action. So, she's surprised, Wonder Woman is, of Starro's strength. She tries to lasso the tentacle and nearly gets pulled away, so she's trying to get more leverage here. Well, meanwhile, the debris from the meteors that Superman was punching out in space have fallen into our atmosphere, and John redirects them as like a attack,
Smart.
using them as shrapnel. But all the friction of dragging this Hall of Science has made one of the wooden windows, it says, burst into flames, and he's weak to fire. So he sucks in a storm cloud and shoots storm water all over to douse the flames.
He's fast thinking.
I guess. I didn't know you could do that with storm clouds.
No.
I like that panel. Where
Yeah.
she's washed out by the blast of it.
That's intense.
Defiantly, Starro's recruit beams a telepathic message at the Justice League members seconds before it sends atomic rays sizzling towards them. No living thing can stand against the nuclear energy stored in my body. These beams will disintegrate you. John Jones, guard yourself. So she uses her bracelets. He uses
Handy.
this is part of a lead roof because it's a science hall and they need to protect the
Science.
experiments with lead. So he peels off some of the lead.
What?
Wonder Woman uses her golden lasso again. I failed to free the building by lassoing the Starfish, but this time I'll lasso my robot plane to help me out. Robot plane, fly fast. Dive for the ground at full speed. So she's dragging the Hall of Science back down to Earth.
While he
And
takes on
He plunges
Starro?
into the eye.
Ew!
I've got to hold it off until Wonder Woman can land that building with the men inside it safely. I hope the amazing Amazon has reached the ground by this time. Gripping the golden lasso firmly, her legs guiding the building like a giant ski. The daughter, she's like water jet skiing or something. The water skiing. The daughter of Queen Hippolyta rides the Hall of Science across a grassy meadow. So, doesn't look that grassy. It looks like they're on like sand
Crazy.
dunes or
Yeah.
something, but whatever. And now we see the third chapter, Starro versus the Flash. So there's Starro's deputy now. But what wild plans does it have in mind? As the grim shadow of a gigantic starfish falls across the coastal town of Happy Harbor, the Scarlet Speedster is hurtling toward one of the most fantastic adventures of his career. Not only must he find a way to defeat the monster, he must also learn the secret behind the strange immunity of his teenage pal, Snapper Carr.
Ugh.
Who could forget the classic character Snapper Carr? For 3 hours, young hipster Snapper Carr has been spreading turf builder, lime, and sodium chlorate on the family lawn. Man, this grass mat is the coolest. Wait until Daddy-O casts his orbs on it. I'll tell him I'm finished. Hey, what's the family circle? What's with the family circle? Where are they beating their feet to? He's got a real hip way of talking.
Yeah, he does.
Mom, Dad, Sis, you look like you're in Tranceville. What happened? What happened? That's what he says. What happened?
Whoa.
I'm like, what? Sudden fright grips Snapper as he runs forward. Glancing neither to the left nor right, John Carr, his wife, and daughter walk blindly along the street, where they are soon joined by their neighbors. It's so crowded, it's Antsville, like everybody's is putting out soles in their sandals. But why? They're out putting soles in their sandals? It's a weird way to put it. Dig that crazy pinwheel. What bit is it playing in this spectacular?
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
So you think apparently Starro can mind control people. You think you would just do
Right.
it to the heroes. Because it's weird that he is recognized, Snapper Carr is recognized by Starro, says, hey, he must be destroyed because he cannot be influenced the way everyone else can. But we find out later why that is, but it
Did it
doesn't
have to do
apply
with what the stuff he was putting on the lawn?
exactly
Okay.
why, yeah. So, and it's not like the heroes were doing that.
Right.
You think a smart Starfish villain would just control Flash himself.
Right.
So Flash rescues him from being blasted, and Starro can't get a beat on him.
Wow.
And actually, Flash runs around him, as often is the case with Flash. He runs
Yeah.
really fast around something, and it accomplishes his goal. He creates a whirlpool, and then Starro tries to escape into this water, and like Moses, the Flash beats his feet until he parts the sea and reveals Starro, which it didn't look like a very big body of water anyway. From here,
Right.
it's like he's probably right there. So he finds Starro and defeats him, and now we have to. Those are the three deputies of Starro that we've now.
Why is he pushing his
Dispatch.
car?
Well, they're in a hurry, but I don't know if he just can't carry Snapper. You see Flash carry people a lot.
Oh,
but
yeah. Sometimes.
He actually even says, "Can't go too fast, or I might burn up Snapper's tires." Like Speedsville, wow. Hey, Flash, dig Mom, Pop, and Sis. They've cut out of their trance. They must have been released from the Starfish's spell when it was knocked out. So now we're on to the real Starro here. Far ahead of the hurtling Speedster and Snapper, the real Starro waits the coming of the
Okay.
people of Happy Harbor. My Starfish deputies have been destroyed, but not before they completed their missions. The atomic energy of the first deputy was relayed into the second one. The second transferred the scientist's knowledge to the third, and from the third I learned I can control human minds as it controlled them. The Earth is mine. Earth beings will obey me when I order them to explode all their atom bombs so I can bathe in them and absorb their energy. With enough nuclear power in me, I can travel to the other worlds. This is my first attempt to conquer a world. I had to test the powers of these humans by using 3 agents. Now that I've succeeded, I can conquer the universe.
Oh boy, big plans, big plans.
Well, you can see by the end of the issue, it's not going to come to much. So they all gang up. This is the first time we get to see at least 4 of the members
Can fly.
ganging up. Well, 5, I guess, with the flashes down there too. But I like the orange, blue, pink, black, like motion lines. They're all converging on the same place, but in the same panel.
His boots have some interesting cutouts too.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I didn't notice the fins on Aquaman's calves either. So Green Lantern takes a shot, but Starro can apparently change himself, change his color, and he knows telepathically, reading Green Lantern's mind, that he's weak to yellow. And Flash is kind of the de facto leader here and instructs Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter to distract Starro as Green Lantern does a spectrum analysis on Snapper here to see why he's immune from the mind control, and they find the traces of calcium oxide, lime. I was doing the lawn today. So they steal a bunch of lime from a nearby farm. He's like, we'll pay the farmers for their lime later. I like how they specify that. And then John gets to use his super breath again and blows a bunch of calcium oxide, lime, please tell you again, which the JLA puts to good use. That's from a chemical warehouse that the Flash raided in super speed. And they subdue him. He's imprisoned in an unbreakable shell, a living statue of lime. Later, by unanimous vote of all the members, Snapper, in appreciation of your help, we have elected you an honorary member of the Justice League of America. This band is your signaling device. Wear it always. You never know when we may call an emergency meeting. Well, Snapper, what do you say? My fingers are saying it for me, Flash. Snap, snap.
Wonder Woman.
What strange and evil forces will the All-Stars be called upon to battle next? Don't miss the next issue of the Justice League of America. They're fighting the challenge of the Weapons Master. So maybe we'll do that one soon. Brave and the Bold 29.
Face.
Yeah, he's funky. He's got a tall forehead. So yeah, that's the first appearance of the Justice League. We don't get Batman or Superman, just like little cameos.
Wow.
It's more of a justification of like, who are these other losers?
Well, it was a good way, though, to...
Batman's like, I'm flying away on his back. You guys can go fight Starro. We've got plans. But yeah, I like the color job in here.
Yes.
Definitely, like, gives it a retro vibe,
but it's not really intense.
So bright.
Yeah.
In the reprint. I like that.
I do
So
too.
you've got a black and white one for us today.
I do. Back to the black and white.
Spider-Man, first appearance. So this will be Amazing Fantasy something or other, number 15.
Amazing
The
Fantasy.
iconic cover here. I remember looking through our collection because I knew this cover from like Wizard magazine or different thing. I was like, oh, that's the first appearance of Spider-Man. And we have a reprint of it, but I didn't know it wasn't amazing. It was like Marvel Tales featuring Spider-Man. I was like, we have this one. Why isn't it in a vault somewhere? I didn't realize like that they could reprint things like that.
Well, we open as Spider-Man, like costume heroes. Confidentially, we in the comic mag business refer to them as long underwear characters. And as you know, they're a dime a dozen. But we think you may find our Spider-Man just a bit different. So we open up with Peter at school. And he's looking so sad.
It's pitiful.
And you've got, say, gang, we need one more guy for the dance. How about Peter Parker over there? Are you kidding? That bookworm wouldn't know a cha-cha from a waltz. Peter Parker, he's Midtown High's only professional wallflower. Poor
So right now they
guy.
separated the words. If they were all in one line, it would look less awkward with the hyphen.
Yes. So, yeah, we're introduced to Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's
So this is 1963. 12 cents.
12 cents, man. August. So, as we open up, the first panel there is Peter being woken up by his uncle and his Aunt
Gosh,
May's.
is he 90?
I know it. There's a huge
Hitler's
generation. He's one of those people that has all the features of his face within 2 inches,
Yeah.
but he's still got a human-sized head. But Aunt May made a big breakfast for him, and they're doting on him. Comical faces. And they send him off to school, and they're so proud of him. And he goes and he asks Sally if she wants to go to the dance with them, if she had any plans that night. And she's like, "Oh, Peter, you know you're not my type." And you see what her type is. Poor Peter in the
Flash
background.
Thompson.
Yeah, that guy's no good. And it was to a science exhibit anyway, so they take off in their car, and he goes on to the science exhibit.
Is the T for Thompson? Like he has his own last name? Because they're at Midtown
They're
High.
at
so
Midtown
I
High.
think
It
would
must
be an
be.
M if it was for the school.
Yeah. Good point. I never noticed that before. So he goes in, and we're all familiar with the story. And where Peter is watching the experiment as the spider lowers itself down. An invisible spider. Nobody notices. And it gets irradiated. And a spider whom fate has given a starring, if brief, role to play in the drama we call life. And it bites Peter. And as he looks down, he's like, a spider? It bit me. But why? Why is it burning so? Why is it glowing that way? And he looks all perplexed and stuff. He goes, "My head, it feels strange. I need some air." And these scientists are like kind of bullying.
Wuss.
Ooh, yeah. That's science talk for wuss. So he goes out, and he's looking at his hand, and he almost gets hit by this car, and he jumps up and grabs onto the building. But the guy in the car, instead of being like, "Holy crap, I almost hit somebody," he's like, that was one egghead who won't
Daydream
anymore when he crosses the
that's
street.
realistic.
Really?
Trying to navigate traffic around here as a pedestrian, it's mostly people find you an inconvenience to their high-speed conveyance and their 6-ton vehicles that they have to stop even though the crosswalk says that you're supposed to have the right of way. They act like it's a big fucking inconvenience.
Yeah, that's true. So in his surprise, he realizes that he climbs up this building. And this kid is like, "Mommy, look at the man climbing up the side of the building." And she's like, "That's the last horror movie I'm going to take you to." And Peter gets to the top and grabs the pipe. He's like, "Oh, I crushed this pipe." And so he's realizing that the spider had given him...
pipe crushing man. Climb walls pipe crusher. I think that's what my name will be.
And so he realizes, and then he climbs down this cable with the ability and the agility of a spider.
I think how scared he looks really sells it. Because if he was too into being powerful, you wouldn't like him. But because he's like a victim,
Yeah.
I think it makes him more likable.
Well, that's true. That's
Looks
true.
all wigged out.
So in the printed form, it seems like he comes to terms with it
Really quickly.
faster than, in any of the movies. But he's got, I've got to have time to think. I've got to plan what to do with this unbelievable ability, which fate has given me. And so he sees this ad for, this fight. You can win $100. So he goes home and just puts on basically sweats and some weird scarf over his face. And he goes, "I'll get in." This guy looks like his whole head opens up from his...
Oh my God.
Isn't that bizarre? He's like, "I'll fight ya, Crusher." So he gets up there, this skinny guy. "Now just relax, Shorty. I'll try to make this as painless as possible." he gets up there and just does all kinds of acrobatics and takes them climbing way up top, and he freaks out. No, no, no.
I like this. It works. I have the speed, the agility, the very strength of a gigantic spider. I like how he specifies as a gigantic one.
Not that little asshole that bit me.
Yeah.
But that makes you wonder. It's like, this is the proportionate strength
That's
of
what
a
they
spider.
change it to is, they're like, well, spiders are small, but proportionally their strength outsizes their, or outmatches their size. But here they're just like, no, as if a spider was giant, you would think it would be strong. So it's a giant. I don't know, that's what I get out of it.
As a kid, though, when I would read that, the proportionate strength of a spider, and I remember finding out about the strength that an ant has.
Yeah.
It really wigged me out for a while. I remember how I felt about knowing that. But anyway.
It's scary to know they're so strong.
It is. He was noticed by someone who becomes his manager. It's, that masked character may be just what I've been looking for. And so he approaches him.
This is broken up into awkward parts, too.
Yes,
in case you don't have the attention span.
And he goes home, and Aunt May and
these beady little features he draws. She's demented looking. It's creepy.
I know it. It kind of looks like weird puppets.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so they tell him that they bought him the microscope that he's wanted, and he's all...
His eyes there, too, the little half circle.
Yes.
He's got fermata eyes.
So he works on his webbing and stuff, and he's like, well, those sports guys would realize that it would take somebody with scientific knowledge to create, his webbing and stuff. So, and he practices with it. But anyway, this just lets you know how much he cares about his aunt and uncle. And then we move on to part 2. And that's where
Those armpit webs are really exaggerated.
Yeah. Well, the
They're
cross-hatching is so big.
I like how he has this, like, in plain sight.
It's in his underwear drawer. It's an old
He's
pair
like
of
talking
underwear.
out loud. Oh, I'll design myself a spider costume. And, oh, hi, Aunt May. It's not... I mean, maybe she is blind with features like that. She's got little pinhole eyes.
Yeah, and it does make more sense, like the new movie with Tom Holland, that Marissa Tomei would be his aunt,
Why does that make sense? Because she's an appropriate age?
Of the appropriate age.
Yeah.
But I remember when they first introduced her, it was like, what?
It was disorienting, because, Aunt May's always an old lady. It makes no sense.
But then we cut to part 2 where he's performing his little... kind of act on TV and stuff, and these people are just amazed. They look amazed, incredulous,
Disgusted.
awe-stricken. Wouldn't you? Yeah. After all, when was the last time you saw a man with his own fantastic spider web? It was, okay, Spider-Man, cut. That's enough. Don't give him too much. Leave him begging for more. So after the show, I know everybody knows where this is going. After the show, he's leaving, and as he's in the hallway, this cop is like, stop, thief, stop. And Peter lets him go by. The guy made it into the elevator, and Peter's like, well, sorry, pal, that's your job. So he's, with these powers, he's gotten a little bit cocky, and he's kind of, mirroring the Flash Thompson and that kind of idea. Hey, see you around. Yup. And they bought
He almost looks like J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, he does. He does.
The features on this crook.
Yeah. So this is where they give him the microscope that he wanted. And they do look happy in their strange features. So the days that follow, the Spider-Man becomes the sensation of the nation. You think they'd use that more? Sensation of the nation. And one evening, as Peter Parker returns home from a personal appearance, a police car in front of her house. What could be wrong? And the policeman tells him that his Uncle Ben has been shot. He surprised a crook. He goes, Uncle Ben, dead, no. And he explains to him, it was the burglar. Your uncle surprised him. But don't worry, lad, we've got him trapped. He's in the old Acme warehouse, at the waterfront. Peter's like, I know where that is. I'm gonna go. So he takes off.
Looks almost like an anime character the way he's drawn there.
Mm-hmm. I like these frames. These are nice panels. But he won't hold off Spider-Man. So he shows up at the warehouse. And this is a nice sequence. It's kind of our first sequence of him fighting crime. Though it looks very open. The drawing style is very open and not very detailed until you get inside. It's like, all I got to do is hold him off till the moon goes down. Then I ought to be able to slip away in the dark. He goes, surprised to see me? Not half so surprised as you're gonna be. Gotta get away, gotta hide, I must be seeing things. And so he webs him, and he grabs him and pulls off his
Did he
hat.
address where the webs come from?
Yeah, he
If they're from his
invented.
body, or?
No. He invented them right
Oh,
here.
there we go. Crackers and milk. Bless them if they only knew. Now let's see. A
Crackers
spider
and milk.
needs a web. This little device should just do the trick. I'll fasten one to each arm. It'll operate by the slightest pressure of any finger.
So if
Wow.
they
So
laughed at
it was
me
that
for-
easy. He's like, this device.
Oh yeah, well
Oh
he's
yeah,
a-
this one that I had right here in the panel.
You
I
know,
made it.
That's interesting because in the comic book, he is like a science genius.
Yeah, and this one he's interested in science. He says, does anybody want to go to the science hall with me? And he said, no.
But in
Starro's just going to carry it off in the
the
atmosphere.
Avengers, it's like Tony does everything for him.
I notice a lot of the Marvel characters are science-based, though, or they're various levels of knowledge. Bruce Banner, Mr. Fantastic, Tony
True.
Stark.
I like
Thor's
that they-
taking classes at the night school.
He's going to be an EMT. So he realizes that this is the guy that a few nights before he didn't stop, and he had that attitude about.
His figure is so slight
Yes.
compared to the muscular version
Except
you
here,
see later
he's
on. Yeah, I guess he's a little more
little-
muscly.
But yeah, no, he is a slight.
And
He's a
how
teenager.
long his head is in some of the panels, like,
Yeah. I
it
think
really
helps.
looks like somebody would have their features under a mask, like their nose and stuff is distorting the shape of the mask.
I like that panel, there,
panel.
the way they drew him.
Yeah, you can see his nose and where it comes to his chin very well, like the outline of it.
Yeah. So he hangs him down for the cops to find. And a short distance away, my fault, all my fault. If only I had stopped him when I could have, but I didn't. And now Uncle Ben is dead. And a lean, silent figure slowly fades into the gathering darkness, aware at last that in this world, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. And so a legend is born, and a new name is added to the roster of those who make the world a fantasy, the most exciting realm of all.
So in the original version, does this Uncle Ben actually even ever say anything about great responsibility and all that, or is that just in that last?
It's that last panel.
Must be in the retelling flashbacks where they flesh out Uncle Ben's character.
Being
That's
the one
interesting.
to...
It's also interesting to have. Oh, here's the secrets of Spidey's mask.
Oh yeah, it explains that it's
And his
lenses, like a one-way mirror.
Oh, nice. It's interesting that first appearance of X-Men, we had Magneto. First appearance of Fantastic Four, they're being called to battle like that underground mole man monster, I believe.
Ooh,
But in the first appearance of Spider-Man, it's just a common crook.
that's who does
Kind of
great
like Batman.
damage.
The first appearance of Batman was just some guy who was going to kill somebody in a hamster,
So Batman kills him.
bell jar thing.
So that's interesting. Yeah.
Amazing
Yeah.
Fantasy 15. And the first 20 issues of Amazing Spider-Man. So this will be a fun one to dig into.
I think the Amazing Spider-Man are mostly my favorite. Wait a minute, go back. That looked like a demented Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, it does.
Ugh.
He's got like his horror. He's got like his heavy metal band makeup on.
Yeah. Peter's like, oh, what?
I like this, the way Steve Ditko drew
Doc
Doc
Ock.
Ock too.
Yes.
His characters are so memorable. The way he
Yes.
portrays them.
Oh, wow.
I know we've done one issue out of this collection, the Scorpion issue. This one, number 20.
Yes.
We did a reprint of that in color early on in comics history. So it'll be fun to return to this and see the first appearance of, say, the Sandman,
Oh, Sandman.
or a tutorial
yeah.
of how to draw the Spider-Man on the Statue of Liberty.
These
There's
old
Steve
books
Ditko
are
himself.
fun.
It's funny to see an artist draw a likeness of themselves
Yes.
in the comic realm anyway.
Yeah, it is.
So, all right, if you enjoyed this, give us a like and a subscribe, and thanks for watching.